Do you want house prices to go down?
I think we'd like to see house prices stabilise because ultimately we can't get into an environment where house prices keep going up and up and up and up and Kiwi families get cut out of the housing market.
Would you say what we're seeing right now is stabilising?
We've seen a drop in house prices, and I, of course, certainly don't want to see house prices fall significantly further, but I don't think we want to see them skyrocket back up to where they were before either.
Stabilising house prices now would still mean that they're unaffordable for many people. Why is that your view?
We have to grow people's incomes so that they can afford to buy houses rather than have house prices collapse, which would lead to a lot of hardship for a lot of families who currently own houses.
How do you stabilise prices?
We need to continue to increase housing supply. I think the foreign buyer ban shouldn't be reversed, which the current government are looking at relaxing the foreign buyer ban. That will ultimately contribute to house prices going back up again. But we also need to invest in the productive economy. We need to get Kiwis, rather than investing in buying and selling rental properties, we need to create an environment where people are investing in productive New Zealand businesses, the kinds that create jobs, create exports, create economic opportunity for the country.
Yeah, that's fair. But the foreign buyer ban, if it's at 5 million plus, it's not going to push up our house price.
Well, the advice that we received when we were in government is that the house prices are all related. So when house prices increase at the top, that has a flow-on effect to other house prices as well, because you effectively push buyers down the housing bands as the house prices at the top go up, and that pushes house prices up across the spectrum.
The advice you got at the time was obviously a bit skew-if, because you brought in the foreign buyers ban to bring house prices down, and house prices went through the roof.
Well, I think the two things that were driving that were very low interest rates and population growth, and the fact that, COVID-19 was a fairly unique period where people saw investing in housing as a much more attractive option than things that, in a very, very volatile, world around a global pandemic, houses were a pretty stable place for people to put their money.
Hey, I was watching the Hui debate last night. It was a great debate. Peni Henare Oreni Kaipura for Tamaki Makaurau, the by-election. And just noticed something that Penny had said about potentially, because you're not giving us any policies, Chris. You know I'm upset about this. Penny's giving us a little sliver of something. Have a listen to what he said.
When we were last in power, we were working closely with iwi to introduce a third grocery provider into the market to allow our whānau to experience cheaper kai and to make sure that iwi are part of delivering the answer for our whānau.
So are you talking about a Kiwi Kai supermarket chain?
We're talking about iwi-led New Zealand chain that will supply our whānau.
So he's talking about support for a movement like that, or an organisation like that. What sort of support would you provide potentially?
Well, those discussions are ongoing. I don't have a proposal on the table right at the moment, but we've said to those who are looking at the supermarket grocery sector and looking at potentially bringing more competition there, that we're open to a conversation about what government support might look like to get that off the ground. We've already made changes when we were last in government to stop anti-competitive behaviour around covenants, which the duopoly were engaged in, to block potential competitors out of the market. We fixed that problem for them, but if there are other barriers that the government can help overcome, we're very interested in talking to them about that.
Are you rolling out financial support? Because I know Duncan Webb was, at least in 2023, was talking about potentially grants, potentially loans, potentially financial support to help with the purchase of land.
I think that would probably be at the bottom of the list of things that we would consider.
But potentially?
I think it's got to be possible. It's got to be possible to get more competition in New Zealand's grocery sector. That would be our overall aim. I'd leave every option on the table, frankly, at the moment. But government running supermarkets, probably that is an option that we would take off the table.
Bruce has emailed in the program this morning, good on Labor for suggesting another supermarket. This government has no policies on the cost of living. I'm sure Mr Hipkins will explain the details later on the show. That's from Bruce. So come on, give Bruce what he wants.
Well, the conversations that we have had, and we've had conversations with several different players who might be interested in entering the supermarket sector. Obviously, those are pretty commercially sensitive conversations, but I'm optimistic that there will be more competition in the supermarket sector soon.
Why are you optimistic about that?
Well, because I know that there are some players, some reasonably sizable players considering it.
How seriously?
Well, those are questions for them. What I've indicated is if we are the government after the next election, that we'll certainly be wanting to see more more competition in the grocery sector, and if we can help to facilitate that, the door's well and truly open.
What are some of the things, because the main issues, I did an interview, well, months ago now, but with Costco, the guy was in charge of Costco when it was setting up. Main issues were zoning, land issues. What are they telling you they want?
There's issues around zoning and land. There's also issues around wholesale, just access to those wholesale supply chains. So certainly in terms of locally produced produce, the duopoly at the moment have a lot of the supply chain sewn up. So we need to make sure that they can get access to stuff to sell, because opening a supermarket and they're not having anything on the shelves isn't going to be a particularly attractive offering for consumers. So we've got to make sure that there is competition at all levels, and that includes in wholesale.